Good morning, guys. So I just wanted to give a little introduction to this next video. Many of you who have been following my journey since I started it on YouTube know that law of attraction is a huge part of my life. I mean, it's a huge part of all of our lives, right? But I definitely try to practice it with intention, and so do my friends. So in this next clip, I just want to share with you guys a little bit of Corinne's story, because what's happening is at the end of the month, towards the end of this month, we're going to Costa Rica with her. But I just wanted to have her tell you how this beautiful manifestation came to be. Also, I want to point out the lesson in this, that sometimes you may want what you want when you think you want it, but there's always going to be a more perfect time. There's always going to be a more perfect time. So even though you may have a prayer on your tongue, even though you may have a desire in your heart, and there may be some days where you wake up and you say, well, why hasn't it happened yet? What's going on? Just know that the time never belongs to us. Time belongs to God, right? And God, the owner of all time, always knows when timing can be its most perfect. For me, for you, for Q. Let's listen to what she has to say about going to Costa Rica for a month.
So what happened was, this segment is called Why Corinne Loves Spanish, Costa Rica version. So when I was in ninth grade and I was a freshman in high school, my language arts teacher, is it language arts or is that English?
No, that's English.
My Spanish teacher, Miss Liner, 1986, freshman year, just comes into class and she's like, hola. And then the whole class is just Spanish. Oh, and then she winds up giving me this really sweet name, it's Corinne. And I was called Tracy in high school, but I told her my real name was Corinne, and she called me Querida. Oh, and I was like,
Querida?
Oh, Querida. Querida, which means dear or love.
Oh, and that was cute.
Yeah, so she's calling me like, hello, love, this whole time. But she didn't cut no breaks. As soon as you came in there, it was just Spanish the whole time. And she was the embodiment of Spanish, like her clothing, her attire. She's funky. She had this funky like haircut even back in 80 something. It was just different, you know what I'm saying? She had energy, she was passionate, and she taught us in an immersive kind of way. Like if we were doing this, we learned all the verbs that had to do with eating and fruit and vegetables or whatever. Right? So comer, to eat, pescado, fish. I don't know why I still remember these words, because that's the way she taught them, right? El pan, ensalada, espinaca, spinach. We're having agua. So because you learned it in the situational thing, then we go on to the hospital. So if you get hurt, so the verbs for to hurt, and then parts of your body. And so if you just learn a list of words, they don't mean
sure,
nothing.
It makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
But the fact that all the things that can surround, so I remember it was like the hospital, being sick, and we learned ambulance and foot and toes, and then it was school, and all the words were school, all the verbs were school, all the whatever. Instead of just learning red, blue, yellow, yes, no, right? And that was ninth grade in 1986, which was how many years ago?
A million.
A million minus 5.
Almost 40 years ago.
So fast forward to 2019, I just wanted to, before that, anytime I would go to Spanish-speaking countries, I would speak Spanish. And they would be like, la hermana, la morena, habla español. They would just say, like, they would get excited. And even if I messed it up, like in a taxi or something, they would just be so happy that I was trying. And they would correct me, or they would talk more slowly, más despacio.
See, that's the thing, how fast it is.
Yeah. All I know how to, and then I learned how to say más lento, which means slow down. And they would slow down for me. Yeah. So it was just so cool. So then in 2019, I was like, I just, dreaming. We're in our gratitude list dreaming. I'm like, what do I want? And I'm like, I want to go and immerse in language and go live somewhere and speak the language. I got a job that's remote now. I can do this. And so I'm like, I'm going to live somewhere for 2 months. I don't know where I came up with that time frame. And I'm going to live on the economy, and I'm going to get off and go to the bodega and the grocery store and buy groceries and talk to the people and just be a local, in a Spanish-speaking country. I started doing research. I start asking my Spanish speaking friends or some people I don't know. Y'all know me. Because some people, their accents are too tough. I didn't want to go places where the what do you call it? The colloquialism is just too much. You know, like too much slang. Not too perfect English, but not too heavy like accents, so I could be understood. And so I had a list of countries, and then COVID happened. I mean, I was ready. I was getting ready to go.
Wow.
So I put that on the shelf. But as we manifest, your thing is manifesting on its own, right? So I left it alone. It never went away. I was very passionate about it. I probably would have left within the next 3 to 6 months after that, but COVID happened. So the dream never went away. And then we went to Costa Rica for work in 2021 for the summer. Mind you, I hadn't picked the country. So I go there, and my company, my business partner takes us there for work. So we have a workation. And we're working and playing and seeing the monkeys and doing everything. But this is a great place. Their accents are great. They speak proper, but they still, it's not so fast you can't understand it. And the guy was taking me back to the airport. And he goes, well, slow down. So as we're doing sunsets and riding, horseback riding and zip lining and RVing and stuff, I'm like, this could be it. And like having dinner on the beach, and I'm like, I want to stay there. Like that feels like where I want to stay with these people, in these shorts and tank tops and whatnot, and I just want to come down here when I get off of work and talk to them and meet new friends in Spanish. I said, this is it, right? So I'm going to the guy's taking me to the airport. I think it's an hour and a half ride back to the airport. They drive like crazy. And he stops and we get coffee on the way there. And I'm speaking Spanish the whole time, And he says, I was like, you can't make this up. He goes, he said, if you stayed here for 2 months, you'd probably be very fluent. And I was like, how you know my name? Right. Like, where did he come up with that for? He said, you came back here and you lived for 2 months and stayed here for 2 months. You would be very fluent. Your Spanish would be so much better. And I was like, God is talking to me. So I was like, this is my place. This is my place. So at that time, my business partner was staying in Points in her resort, but she always had a vision to do something there or build, or like that's her place. They had a business there for 2 years, and then they left and they came back and started the credit business. So that's their place. And we would go grocery shopping with them. They know everybody. They like, you go to the butcher, like give me some groceries. So they already was living the life I wanted to live there, and they know people. Got friends introduced. When I go there, I'm gonna know some people because I already met the people, right? And then now that it's time to go, and I want to go now, she has built a home there last year, closed on it like 2 weeks or 2 months early, and is Airbnb in it, and then gifted me a week to go there when I said I wanted to. So I was like, you perfect timing, or you're behind. If I had gone in 2019, it wouldn't look like this at all. So I'm super excited. I'm about to turn on my Duolingo and bask in my dreams.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. That's awesome.
Oh, and it's happening. The inspiration is happening, and I'm gonna be there for my birthday. And I didn't really plan it like that because I was going to for my birthday. Last year was like everybody and everything and skating and Prince, and that was my vision. But this year I was gonna go to Yogaville. So I had gone to Art of Living.
Oh, have you ever been to yoga? Oh, it's
I went to Art of Living.
What is yoga? Okay, I don't even.
Okay, so Art of Living, I went in 2016 or something like that, and it was like vegan food and meditation.
Was that in Ashburn in the mountains?
Somewhere in the mountains of North Carolina. So I found somewhere similar to that, not far from here, for half the price. It's called Yogaville, and you go out there and do yoga. Well, both of these places you can do silent retreats. You can do meditation, you can do yoga. They got all these different things. When I went to Art of Living, they had like Ayurvedic readings, they had all kinds of stuff. And I went by myself, and that was my refuge to myself. So I feel it's time to do that again. I want to do it by myself and just be with the whatever. But the price to go to Yogaville, even though it's half, and I got this language immersion vision for 3 days from the 30th to April 2nd is always the same price. For me to be somewhere for a month.
Wow. Wow.
It's basically the same price. I was like, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. We going to Costa Rica.
That's awesome.
Now, question: why aren't you going for 2 months?
Schedule wise, finance wise, Yeah, basically schedule wise, and like my calendar start picking up when I initially even thought about doing it with my baby girl Zora. The way our calendars are set up, in my mind, I would get her, I would go, because I get her. My daughter's time with me is one weekend every other month, right? So I mean, I see her more than that, but that's my weekend. So I would get her for my weekend. And then I would go for 2 months. Oh, that's why I did 2 months. Thank you, girl, for asking. I would get her, say I get her in February and April. So I would go in February, the weekend after, right after I get her, and then I would have 2 months, and then it would be my time to get her again. So that's the only reason why it was 2 months, so I wouldn't miss my time with Zora. Yeah, I remember now. I was like, why was it 2 months? Yeah, because I have that stretch. It could be 6 months if I didn't have my baby. I would just, I would be there for a year, you know?
Right.
But that's not how it's set up. So I was like, I wanted to be back in order to do that. So now I had just had a lot of activities on my calendar. The kids were coming, da. So the way it's set up, we just doing the month. I can go back.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah.
It might be a thing. I might just go. It's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Wow. I love it.
I know.
We are
Then
some
budget
manifesting
life,
somebodies.
Budget life. That is
Her blessing is to be my blessing. Love it. And Jay's.
Yeah. And then like